Hello, I'm Lacey. Again, I'm doing my speech number 2 for my communications class, and I've decided to do it on something I'm passionate about, that I care deeply for, and that's my dog Tess. Say hi, Tess. So I've had this one since she was a little baby, about the size of her head, about 7 weeks, and I've raised her, I've potty trained her, housebroke her, gone through all kinds of different skin issues and stuff with her, and she's my little baby. I'll tell you a little background about her. So the reason I decided to get a chocolate lab, or rather a lab in general, was I've loved labs my whole life. I think they're awesome dogs. They have good dispositions. They're sweet. They're gentle. If you have kids, they love kids. And how I came across her, I was actually at my house one day, and I said, I'm ready to get a dog. I'm sick and tired of waiting. I'm tired of, I was going to wait till I got a husband and a house with a backyard and all of that. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to wait anymore. I want a dog. So I called my dad and I said, I'm gonna get a dog. I want a lab. So I went on the AKC website, which is, I recommend that because that's where you can find out all kinds of things about the dogs, their families, their histories. It's an excellent website to do dog searching. And I found her on there, and she was a clearance puppy, I like to call her, because she was only $800 instead of the typical. And so I went and called the owner and said, hey, I'm interested in Tess. Well, her name wasn't Tess at the time. Her name was X Factor because she's got a white X right here on her chest. And so that's the name they gave her. So I called them and said, I'm interested in Tess. I'd like to come and meet her. And there was another person there that was going to be looking at her. So the guy's like, well, I'll let you know what happens. And if the lady decides to keep her, we'll give you a call and let you know. So I got off work, called him. And he's like, she's thinking about it. She's at lunch right now thinking about it. So you just come by. I haven't heard anything from her. By the time I got there, the lady decided she didn't want Tess because of the white X on her chest. I think she wanted her to show her or something like that. And of course, me, I love animals of all kinds. So I was like, I'll take her and her white X on her chest. And so I picked her up at 7 weeks, or I met her when she was about 4 weeks at that time, and she was so tiny. I think she was like the size of her head at that time. And it was love at first sight. She was kissing me and licking me and loving on me. So I put the deposit down, and that was my baby. And then I picked her up 2 weeks later when she was about 7 weeks old, and she was about 10 pounds bigger. I was like, this is not the same dog. And brought her home, and she fell asleep in my lap on the way home listening to symphony orchestra music. And she's been my little girl ever since. And a funny story about her, I remember she was staying at my dad's house, and we came home and she was covered in mud. She was no longer a chocolate lab, she was like a tan lab. And I opened the door like an idiot, and she ran through the house and booked it through the house and had mud everywhere, wiped herself all over the walls, gave her a bath, and that's pretty much shows you an idea of what her personality is like. She's a little hectic, crazy girl. And now she's my therapy dog, and how that kind of came about is I got diagnosed with anxiety pretty bad, and I've had her, and I remember I got an anxiety attack really bad, and she would not leave my side. She put her paw on my leg, stared at me, licked my hand, and just would not leave my side until I was okay. So I actually got her registered as a therapy dog now, so she helps me out with all of that, and I honestly can't imagine life without her. And I'm trying to get her registered to be a service dog, because where I work at UCSD with HIV/AIDS patients, we let them bring their dogs in, and we've found that it's very therapeutic and it's good for them. So my work is working on getting her registered to be a service dog, so that I can bring her in and introduce her to the patients and make them feel calm and all of that good stuff. So that's kind of like the idea with her, and also she's my daughter at the same time. So anyways, that's my story of Tess and how I got her and how I came about getting her, and the funny stories with her. There's tons of hilarious stories with this one, but I recommend, if you want to get a dog, I recommend labs, because they have such a quiet, good disposition. They're fun, they're good with children, they're good with people, they're good with other dogs. I did a lot of homework with her. She's an American lab, so she's got the longer nose and she's a little taller. There's also the English labs, with their little bigger and bulkier, and they have the shorter noses. So I wanted her, and I got all of her family history, so there's no hip dysplasia in her family or anything like that, so she should live a good long life, which is the plan. And that's pretty much, you know, the story of Tess and my therapy dog. Thanks for watching.